In Edo-era Japan, impoverished young girls traded for the price of a single meal could find themselves draped in 12 layers of silk by their 16th birthday. These children scrubbed fish guts until their fingers bled, only to grow into women whose nails elongated into delicate claws, so impractical they couldn't even dress themselves. The oiran, Japan's most elite courtesans, were valued at their literal weight in gold, yet remained powerless to purchase their own liberty. So yes, if these unsettling tales lull you to sleep, consider subscribing. Tell me, where are you listening from? Drop your city and current time in the comments. Sometimes I spot Californians tuning in at 3 p.m., and I wonder, are you napping? Alright, tonight we descend into Yoshiwara's floating world. But before we begin, get comfortable, truly comfortable. Fluff those pillows. Secure your blanket. Perfect. Trust me on this. The year is 1702. You awaken curled behind your father's fish stall in Edo. The tatami beneath you is frayed, its prickly strands jabbing your back like tiny knives. Your threadbare cotton yukata reeks of last night's mackerel, a stench so ingrained in your skin you've long stopped noticing it. Dawn hasn't yet broken, but the thick summer air already clings to your skin like damp parchment. From the next room, your father's hacking cough echoes, the same wretched sound that claimed your mother the winter before. Your stomach growls. Yesterday's meal was a handful of rice and pickled radish. The year has been cruel. Floods decimated crops, fish grew scarce, and your father's stall barely earns enough to appease the landlord, let alone feed 2 mouths. Hey, you mutter to yourself, stretching cramped legs. At least we're not boiling leather like the neighbors. Scratching mosquito bites on your ankles, you reach for the wooden bucket. Time to fetch water from the well before the morning rush. You're 8 years old. This is the only life you've ever known. You slip your feet into straw sandals, the left one falling apart at the toe. The morning feels different somehow, though you can't pinpoint why. At the well, a woman with impossibly alabaster skin watches you. Not merely pale, porcelain, as if she's never faced the sun. Her kimono shimmers with embroidered cranes that seem to take flight as she moves. Her hair coils in glossy waves, adorned with golden pins that tinkle like wind chimes when she tilts her head. Who's that with her? A vendor whispers to his wife. The other fancy one, comes the reply. You turn to see a second woman, equally resplendent, inspecting dried fish at a nearby stall. These women don't belong to your world of grimy streets and gnawing hunger. They exist in paintings or tales spun by travelers. From Yoshiwara, the vendor's wife murmurs, voice hushed with awe. Back at the stall, your father speaks with these ethereal creatures. The taller one kneels before you, lifting your chin with cool fingers. She examines your face like appraising a pearl, turns your hands over, checks your teeth, peers into your ears. Good bones, she tells your father. Intelligent eyes. No defects. Your father won't meet your gaze. The second woman hands him a pouch. When it lands in his palm, the thud sounds final, like a temple bell tolling death. Father, you begin, but he turns away. Be good, he mumbles. You'll eat white rice there. Sleep on silk. Before comprehension dawns, you're walking away with these women, their attendants trailing behind with lacquered boxes. You glance back once. Your father has already vanished inside. What's happening? You ask, voice small. You've been sold to Yoshiwara. The woman replies matter-of-factly. You'll train as a kamuro, an attendant at the Uriya house. If you work hard and blossom into beauty, you might become an oiran yourself one day. You've heard whispers of Yoshiwara, the pleasure district where lanterns glow all night. Music never ceases, and beautiful women entertain wealthy men. It sounds like a dream, yet the knot in your stomach whispers it's a nightmare. By afternoon, you've traveled farther than ever before. The palanquin, they've tucked you into smells of incense and perfume, not fish. Your head spins. Through the window, you watch farmers tending fields, merchants hauling carts, children playing, ordinary life continuing without you. At sunset, towering red gates loom ahead, emblazoned with golden characters. Yoshiwara, the floating world. Guards flank the entrance, scrutinizing visitors, turning some away, but they bow to your palanquin. Beyond here, the outside world ends, the woman says as you pass through. A different existence begins. Nakano Street unfolds before you, lined with cherry trees and lanterns. Women in dazzling kimonos stand behind wooden lattices like exotic birds in gilded cages. Shamisen music drifts from tea houses. Men in fine robes laugh, their voices weaving through the perfumed air, so unlike the stench of fish and sweat from your old life. Nakano, the woman says, gesturing. The heart of Yoshiwara. Your palanquin halts at a 3-story building with an ornate entrance. A severe-looking woman in a dark kimono waits at the door, her hair scraped into a tight bun, her face etched with authority. Younger women scatter like spooked birds around her. The house mother, your escort, whispers. She runs Yoroya. Fear her more than demons. The house mother inspects you with clinical detachment, checking limbs, teeth, as if evaluating livestock. Finally, she nods. Acceptable. Take her to the Kimuro quarters. New name. She pauses. Tatsuno, little dragon. Your old name dies in that instant. You're Tatsuno now. A maid leads you through cedar-scented corridors to a cramped back room where futons lie in neat rows. 3 girls your age glance up, their expressions flickering between curiosity and wariness. New Kimuro, the maid announces. She starts tomorrow. She leaves you with a thin yukata and orders to sleep. The other girls whisper among themselves, stealing glances. Is it true? One finally asks. Do they really eat your liver if you disobey? You gasp. What? Kidding. She grins mischievously. I'm Kimi. That's Momiji and Sakura. We're all Kimuro for Takahime-sama. Who's that? Only the most beautiful Oirin in Yoshiwara, Kimi says proudly. We're her attendants. Now you are too. That night, you sleep on the softest futon you've ever felt, yet dreams of fish stalls haunt you. You wake before dawn, disoriented by the unfamiliar ceiling. For a heartbeat, you expect the stench of mackerel, your father's cough. Instead, a bell rings through the house. The girls bolt upright. Hurry, Kimi urges. We must prepare Takahime-sama's morning bath. You follow them through dim corridors to a steamy bathing chamber. The girls arrange towels, combs, and scented oils on lacquered trays with practiced efficiency. You'll fetch water, Momiji says, pointing to wooden buckets. For the next hour, you haul water from the well to the bathhouse, arms burning. Just as you finish, a vision appears in the doorway. A woman of breathtaking elegance, her night robe slipping off porcelain shoulders. Takahime. The girls drop into deep bows, foreheads touching tatami. You clumsily mimic them. Takahime barely acknowledges you as she disrobes and steps into the bath. The other Kimuro attend to her, washing her back, pouring water over her shoulders, massaging her scalp with jasmine-scented rice bran soap. Who is this? Takahime finally asks, noticing you hovering awkwardly. New Kimuro, Takahime-sama, Kimi answers. Her name is Tatsuno. Takahime studies you with detached curiosity. She has potential. Train her properly. After the bath comes the intricate ritual of dressing. You watch, awestruck, as layers of silk kimono envelop Takahime's slender frame. First a white underlayer, then vibrant red, finally an outer robe of deep blue embroidered with silver cranes. 3 maids collaborate to dress her, one arranging her hair into a towering Shimada style, another applying lead white makeup, a third kneading her hands and feet. An Oirin can't dress herself, Kimi whispers. The kimonos are too heavy, sleeves too long. That's why we exist. When finished, Takahime transcends human form, a living artwork. The white makeup erases all flaws. Her lips are stained crimson. Her hair glitters with gold ornaments that chime with every movement. Today, you'll learn to follow, Momiji tells you. Watch everything. Say nothing. For the rest of the day, you shadow the Kimuro, attending to Takahime's every whim. You carry her shamisen to music lessons, hold her sleeves to prevent them from brushing the ground, fan her during breaks. The years blur into a relentless cycle of lessons and servitude. By 13, you're no longer the scrawny fishmonger's daughter. Your hands have softened, your speech refined. Today marks your transition from Kamuro to Shinzo, from child attendant to apprentice courtesan. The house mother summons you before dawn. She circles like a hawk, scrutinizing your posture, your skin, your hair. Acceptable, she finally declares. High praise from her. Begin Shinzo training today. Takahaim-sama requested you specifically. Your heart leaps. After years of laundering Takahaim's kimonos, fetching her tea, watching from shadows, you've caught her attention. Don't disappoint her, the house mother adds, voice sharp as a tanto blade. Failed Shinzo become mates. Or worse. She doesn't elaborate. You've seen girls vanish into Edo's outskirts, brothels where men pay in copper coins, not gold. In the dressing room, attendants strip away your plain Kamuro robe. The new ensemble steals your breath. Pale pink silk with cascading cherry blossoms. Arms out, orders the dresser, a no-nonsense woman with calloused hands. The fabric's weight surprises you. They layer a second kimono underneath, then bind your chest with silk strips. Too many ribs showing. The dresser mutters, yanking the binding tighter. Men don't pay for bones. Your changing body hasn't escaped notice. Older clients' gazes linger, making your skin crawl. But in Yoshiwara, being noticed is currency. The dresser knots an elaborate obi, then steps back. Hair next. For an hour, you sit motionless as they wash, oil, and sculpt your hair into the wear shinobu style, swept forward with dramatic flair. Tortoiseshell pins dig into your scalp. Beauty hurts, little dragon. The hairdresser remarks, noticing your wince. Get used to it. Makeup comes next. Lead white paste coats your face, neck, and chest, leaving 2 sharp points at your nape. They paint only the center of your lips crimson, the Shinzo's distinctive mark. The mirror reflects a stranger, a girl balanced between childhood and allure. I look like a doll, you whisper. That's the point, the dresser replies. They strap Kamagata sandals to your feet, 3-inch wooden stilts. Walking feels like balancing on chopsticks. Don't shuffle, the dresser scolds. Glide. Takahaim awaits in her chambers, already resplendent in midnight blue silk embroidered with silver cranes. Her hair towers in the Hyogo style, adorned with golden kanzashi that catch sunlight like scattered coins. My little dragon, she says, gesturing you closer. Finally old enough for real training. 4 or 5 years, you've memorized her clients' names, preferences, the 1,000 unspoken rules. Now, everything changes. You think you know what it means to be Oiran, she muses, examining her lacquered nails. You don't. You bow deeply. I'm ready to learn, Takahaim-sama. She laughs, that rare, genuine laugh never shown to clients. No one's ready. We begin anyway. Your Shinzo days make Kamuro's servitude seem gentle. Dawn brings shamisen lessons until your fingers bleed and calluses form. You practice calligraphy until your wrist cramps, memorize hundreds of poems, perform tea ceremonies' intricate ballet. Again, your music teacher snaps after 3 hours of the same passage. You sound like a strangled cat. You bite back tears. The shamisen's bocce presses into raw fingertips. Wait. The teacher covers your hands. Feel the music here first. She taps your chest. Then let it flow. You try again. The notes emerge smoother, still flawed, but alive. Better, she concedes. Now repeat 500 times. Between lessons, you study Takahaim's every gesture. How she laughs behind her sleeve at crude jokes, pours sake with sleeves barely grazing the table, glances down before delivering razor-sharp wit. It's all performance, she tells you one night as you remove her makeup. Every blink, every sigh, calculated. Isn't that exhausting? Of course. The alternative is worse. What alternative? Her reflection meets yours in the mirror, stripped of white makeup, startlingly vulnerable. Powerlessness. At night, you collapse onto your futon, body aching, mind swirling with poetry and shamisen chords. Your roommate Kimi, also promoted, often cries herself to sleep. I can't do it, she whispers. My hands are too small for shamisen. They'll send me away. You reach through darkness, squeezing her hand. I'll help you practice. And you do. drilling Kimi on poems, correcting her finger positions, teaching tea ceremony steps you've mastered. One morning, the dance instructor strikes Kimi's leg with her fan. Sloppy again. Kimi trembles, but holds position. You catch her eye, a barely perceptible nod. She executes the turn perfectly. Humph. Adequate, the instructor mutters, moving on. Kimi flashes you a grateful smile. Not all Shinzo are allies. Mizuki, apprenticed to a rival Oiran, watches you with venomous eyes. When you master a complex shamisen piece before her, she accidentally spills ink on your new kimono. So clumsy. She simpers, false concern dripping like honey. The house mother will be furious. You don't retaliate. Instead, you outshine her through skill, not sabotage. She'll always hate you. Takaheim observes after witnessing Mizuki's slight. Some women can't bear others rising. What should I do? Become so excellent. Her jealousy looks foolish. 6 months into training, Takaheim lets you observe her with clients. Not in private rooms, but at banquets where powerful men gather. You kneel silently, absorbing everything. Takaheim entertains a daimyo's son and a Dutch trading merchant, both vying for her attention. The merchant produces a lacquered box. From China, a jade hairpin carved with dragons. Takaheim's eyes flicker with genuine appreciation before veiling it. You honor me too greatly. The daimyo's son recites a poem comparing her to moonlit water, beautiful but untouchable. Later, you ask which gift pleased her more. The hairpin can be sold if needed, she says pragmatically. Poetry pays no debts. But didn't his words mean something? Words are the cheapest currency in Yoshiwara. One night, you serve tea at a gathering of high-ranking Oiran. Without clients, their public personas dissolve. They laugh loudly, smoke kizaru pipes, gossip ruthlessly. Did you hear? Sharp-faced Mizora says. Koyo's patron got caught by his wife. Cut off all funds. How much does he owe? 3 years' worth. Selling land to cover it. And they say we ruin men. Takaheim laughs. Mizora notices you listening. Your little Shinzo eavesdrops. Good, Takaheim says. She should learn how the world works. And you do. Every smile, every favor has its price. Some men visit for status, others for genuine connection, the saddest believing they're in love. Those are easiest to manipulate, Takaheim warns, and most dangerous when disillusioned. Have you ever felt anything for a client? She taps her pipe thoughtfully. Once, years ago. What happened? He promised to buy my contract. Married politically instead. Her voice hardens. His money spends as well as anyone's. As your second Shinzo year begins, the house mother eyes your developing figure. Start preparing her for Mizuich, she tells Takaheim. She'll fetch a good price. The word chills you. Mizuich, the ceremony auctioning your virginity to the highest bidder. That night, you find Takaheim riding by lamplight. What's Mizuich really like? You whisper. She sets down her brush. Business. Like everything here. Were you scared? Terrified? Her honesty shocks you. But it passes. Everything does. From her shelf, she retrieves a porcelain bottle. 2 drops in his drink. No more. It won't knock him out, just slows him down. You clutch the bottle, tears pricking your eyes. We take care of our own, she says simply. Now go practice. Your third finger still falters. The preparations for your Mizuich unfold with ceremonial precision. Each morning begins with the house mother's scrutinizing gaze tracing the contours of your developing body. Hips widening, waist narrowing, the subtle curves that signal readiness. She's ripening nicely. The old woman murmurs to Takaheim, as if assessing fruit at market. We'll present her at next month's procession. Your training intensifies. The dance instructor drills you in the Oiran's signature figure-8 walk, each step a calculated seduction. Less sway in the hips. She snaps, wrapping your ankles with her fan. You're not a common streetwalker. Make them ache for what they can't have. At night, you lie awake listening to Kimi's quiet sobs. She failed her shamisen examination yesterday. The house mother demoted her to laundry duty, a death sentence for any Shinzo's aspirations. I'll never be Oiran now, she whimpers into her thin pillow. You stroke her hair, remembering the jade dragon hidden beneath your floorboard, Takaheim's secret gift. Its cool weight reminds you, survival first, dreams later. The procession arrives on a day thick with autumn humidity. 3 attendants spend hours transforming you into living art, layering 5 silk kimonos, painting your face into a porcelain mask, arranging your hair in the Takashimada style with 15 golden kanzashi. This costs more than you'll earn in 5 years, the dresser remarks, tightening your obi. Remember, it belongs to the house. When they finally let you see the mirror, a stranger stares back, eyes elongated with crimson makeup, lips reduced to a doll's pout. The weight of the ensemble makes breathing difficult. That's Tatsuno the Oiran, the dresser declares. The girl you were is gone. The Kamagata sandals add 10 inches to your height. Walking requires agonizing concentration, tiny steps forming invisible figure 8s on the ground. This procession is an advertisement. The house mother hisses before you depart. The harder you are to attain, the more they'll pay. Nakano Street teems with spectators as you emerge. Through the white makeup, you spot familiar faces. Mizuki's jealous glare, the fishmonger's son who once threw rotten mackerel at you, now gawking slack-jawed at your transformation. Is she worth the price? A merchant mutters. For that face, I'd sell my warehouse, his companion leers. You keep your expression serene, but inside, a bitter laugh bubbles up. They see the artwork, not the canvas, the performance, not the girl sold for a meal. The procession takes an hour to traverse what normally requires 2 minutes. By the end, your feet bleed inside the sandals. Your neck screams from the hair ornament's weight, but you haven't stumbled. Back at Yoroya, the house mother actually smiles. Well done. Rest now. Tonight comes your Mizuich. Alone in your new private chamber, a privilege of your rank. You remove the tortoiseshell pins one by one. Each tug sends sharp pains through your scalp. The jade dragon winks at you from its hiding place. Takaheim arrives unannounced, bearing 2 gifts, the promised sleeping draft and a second surprise, a tiny ivory netsuke of a dragon, matching your hidden treasure. For luck, she says, pressing it into your palm. Keep this one concealed. It's yours, not the house's. I'm scared, you admit, voice cracking. Everyone is. She adjusts a stray hair. By tomorrow, it'll be over. You'll be one of us. At dusk, attendants dress you in a furosode kimono, crimson silk with gold butterflies. They reapply your makeup, this time with a softer touch. Matsudara-sama has arrived, a maid announces. Your patron for the night, the government official Takaheim secured, kneels across from you in the private room. He's older than expected, perhaps 40, with the refined bearing of aristocracy. Tatsuno, he says, accepting the sake you pour. I'm honored you accepted my bid, as if you had choice. But you smile, performing the script perfectly. The honor is mine, Matsudaira-sama. When he looks away, you add 2 drops of Takaheim's potion to his cup. The ritual unfolds, sake poured, poetry exchanged, shamisen played at his request. By the 3rd cup, his eyelids grow heavy. Shall we retire? He suggests, gesturing to the folded futon. Your hands tremble as attendants help undress you both. When they leave, you're in a thin silk robe, he in sleeping garments. Come, he pats the futon. You obey, your mind detaching as Takaheim taught, floating somewhere near the ceiling as your body moves mechanically. There's pain, but less than feared. The drug makes him sluggish, almost tender. Afterward, you lie awake beside his sleeping form, studying the ceiling's grain. Your body aches in new places, but the jade dragon hidden under the pillow whispers, you survived. Dawn brings Matsudaira's departure and a generous gift, a gold hairpin worth a fortune. Treasure this always. You promise, knowing the house mother will confiscate it by noon. She does, while reviewing your account ledger. Your debt's been reduced by the Mizuich payment, she says. But new expenses begin today. Better kimonos, finer cosmetics. You stare at the figures. The debt that began when you were purchased has never decreased, only grown. How much to buy my freedom? The house mother pauses, then names a sum so vast it steals your breath. Focus on clients. She snaps the ledger shut. The more you earn, the better your conditions. Your new status brings privileges, private chambers, first choice of silks, but also relentless demands. Soon, your first regular client arrives. Dinzaburo, a silk merchant whose ships trade with the Dutch. Even more beautiful up close, he says, staring openly. I watched your procession, magnificent. By his third visit, he makes an announcement. I wish to be your Dana, a patron, binding you to monthly payments for exclusive rights. You perform the expected demurral, but the house mother's already negotiated terms. That night, he stays until dawn, talking more than touching, claiming you through conversation rather than force. When he leaves, you scrub his scent from your skin, watching the bathwater swirl pink from your still tender body. Weeks pass in a blur of banquets and private appointments. You learn to categorize men, the status seekers who parade you like a trophy, the lonely souls craving intellectual companionship, the deluded romantics writing love letters, and yes, the ones who simply want flesh. Those nights, you retreat into your mind, imagining the jade dragon's cool weight, your secret tether to self. Dinzaburo proves surprisingly considerate, bringing gifts and speaking of someday buying your contract. You've learned not to trust such promises, but when he mentions his Osaka trade connections, you file the information away. One afternoon, you find Takaheim in the garden, staring at a letter with uncharacteristic tears. My brother died, she says before you can ask. Cholera. I didn't know you had family. I try not to remember them. She folds the letter carefully. I was 12 when father sold me. My brother swore he'd buy me back when grown. You sit beside her as she lights her kizaru, the smoke curling between you like a ghost. The most important lesson, she says finally, is that everyone here plays a role. Never confuse the mask with the person beneath. Who are you beneath? She exhales slowly. Sometimes I forget. As you rise to leave, she does something extraordinary. Calls you by your birth name, the one from before Yoshiwara. The sound stops your heart. How did you know? I make it my business to know everything about those in my care. Her smile holds centuries of sorrow. Remember who you were. It'll keep you sane. That night, you whisper your real name to the darkness, a talisman against forgetting. Outside, rain drums on the roof as someone plays a melancholy shamisen tune. Tomorrow, your new life as full Oiran begins. You're not ready. You'll never be ready. But as Takaheim said, you'll begin anyway. 5 years dissolve like ink and rain. At 21, you've become Tatsuno of Uriya, one of Yoshiwara's most celebrated Oiran. Your name appears in ukiyo-e prints sold throughout Edo. Poets compose verses about your willow waist and moonpale throat. Wealthy merchants bankrupt themselves for an hour of your company. Yet each morning now begins with a metallic taste at the back of your tongue, the first warning of lead poisoning from years of white makeup. Today, 3 attendants swarm your private chamber like bees around a blossom. The Nakamura brothers requested you for their noon banquet. Yuki announces, unfolding a selection of kimonos. And Dinzaburo-sama visits tonight. You point to indigo silk patterned with silver waves. With the pearl kanzashi. The transformation ritual begins. First, a cherry blossom bath, then the 2-hour hair ritual. Your Hyogo style now requiring twice as many pins to conceal the first silver threads. Sit straighter, Yuki chides. Your neck shows lines. Lines, the mortal enemy of any Oiran. You've seen how quickly women fall from favor when their skin loses its youthful tautness. Last season's most celebrated courtesan now scrapes by in a third-tier house, all because a coal ember left a scar on her cheek. In the mirror, your reflection wears its familiar mask, white lead foundation covering face, neck, and décolletage, lips repainted into that coveted crimson bud, eyebrows plucked and redrawn higher. The face of Tatsuno, beautiful, untouchable, ageless. At the Nakamura banquet, you kneel gracefully among younger courtesans, including Yuami, the 16-year-old nightingale of Yoshiwara, whose kodo playing has become the latest sensation. They say the new girl plays like a celestial maiden. Counselor Tanuma remarks, nodding toward Yuami. You smile serenely while arranging your sleeves. An excellent suggestion. Ume's talent is remarkable for one so young. When Ume's fingers dance across the koto strings, the room holds its breath. Her technique is flawless, all precision and youthful vigor. Then it's your turn. You choose an old folk melody, infusing each note with the weight of your 13 years in Yoshiwara. Not technical perfection, but something deeper, the ache of 100 stolen midnights, the whisper of silk against tatami, the ghost of your father's cough. When you finish, the applause is different, less exuberant than Ume's, but more reverent. Like fine wine, Tanuma toasts, improving with age. The bar beneath the compliment stings, but you laugh behind your sleeve, the perfect picture of gracious decline. Later, as you walk back to Yoroya through lantern-lit streets, Yuki fumes. That upstart has no subtlety, all technique, no soul. You pat her hand. Youth has its advantages. I heard she coughs every morning, Yuki adds spitefully. Weak constitution. You say nothing. In Yoshiwara, survival depends on outlasting rivals, but you've learned pity tastes better than schadenfreude. That night, Dinzaburo arrives bearing gifts. A bolt of rare Chinese silk and, more precious, news. I'm retiring, he announces over sake. My son will take the business. Your stomach knots. A patron's retirement often spells disaster for his courtesan. Will you return to your province? Perhaps. He studies you. Or perhaps I'll finally honor my promise. Promise. To purchase your contract. You've heard such vows before, usually empty. But when he adds, I've already spoken to the house mother, your pulse quickens. And if you buy my freedom, what then? You choose your path. His sincerity surprises you. I've grown fond of you, Tatsuno. Fonder than is wise for a man my age. Hope flickers, dangerous and bright. But when you review your debt ledger next morning, the numbers tell a different story. Mysterious new charges appear. Special garden maintenance, 85 Rio. Premium tea service, 120 Rio. Your debt has doubled overnight. Mizuki finds you in the garden that evening. The house mother is inflating your debt, she whispers. She keeps a separate ledger in her chamber, the one with the red lacquer lock. You stare at your longtime rival. Why tell me this? Her smile holds no malice. Maybe I'm tired of watching women trapped in golden cages. That night, you slip into the forbidden chamber. The red lacquered ledger confirms everything. Your true debt should be 1,600 Rio, not the 7,300 Rio the house mother claims. The door slides open. What are you doing? The house mother hisses. Thinking fast, you press your forehead to the tatami. Forgive me. I came to beg your counsel. I fear leaving Yoroya. The lie works. She actually pities you. Of course you're frightened. Most failed oiran end in unlicensed brothels. Could you set my price impossibly high? For my own protection? Her smile chills your blood. For your own good? Of course. 3 days later, a magistrate's clerk arrives at Yoroya, the result of Dinzaburo's years of quiet bribes and political favors. By order of the city magistrate, he announces, this court finds Tatsuno's debt unlawfully inflated. The lawful maximum is 1,600 Rio, which Dinzaburo-sama has paid in full. The house mother's face purples with rage. This is theft. Justice. The clerk corrects, stamping your manumission papers. As you pack your few true possessions, the jade dragon, Takaheim's letters, a stolen gold coin, Yuki weeps quietly. What will happen to you? You ask. She straightens. I've learned from the best. You press a gold Rio into her palm, part of your secret hoard. Find me in Nyanbashi if you need help. At dusk, you walk through Yoshiwara's gates for the last time. The palanquin carries you past Nakano Street's glowing lanterns, past the cherry trees where you once dreamed of freedom, past Yumi, watching silently from an upstairs window. She bows. You bow back. Then the gates close behind you. The palanquin sways through Edo's labyrinthine streets, its rhythmic motion making your stomach lurch. Through the lattice window, you catch glimpses of a world you'd forgotten. Fishmongers packing up their stalls, children chasing stray dogs, old women squatting over steaming pots of odin. Ordinary life, unvarnished and vital. When the bearers finally set you down before Dinzaburo's three-story compound in Nyanbashi, the sheer normalcy of the place stuns you. No gaudy lanterns, no perfumed curtains, just clean lines of dark wood and the faint tang of dye vats from the silk workshop below. A maid with work-rough in hand slides open the door. "Mistress," she murmurs, bowing deeply. The word lands like a slap. You've been Oirin, Komuro, Shinzo, never mistress. Dinzaburo waits in the entryway, his formal kimono slightly rumpled, as if he'd dressed in haste. "Welcome home," he says, another word that doesn't fit. He leads you to your quarters. 6 tatami mats overlooking a miniature garden where a single maple tree trembles in the evening breeze. The simplicity steals your breath. No gold leaf screens, no erotic scrolls, just emptiness waiting to be filled. "I hope it's suitable," he says, watching your face. You run fingers along the unadorned walls. It's perfect. That first night, silence presses against your ears. No drunken laughter from nearby tea houses, no chemise and strings weeping through thin walls, just the occasional hoot of an owl. You lie awake listening to your own heartbeat and used to its solitary rhythm. At dawn, you startle awake expecting Yuki with your tea, the weight of 12 hairpins, the house mother's critical eye. But there's only sunlight painting the shoji screen's gold. The cotton yukata you pull on feels scandalously light without layers of underkimono. When you glimpse your reflection, no white makeup, no crimson lips. The stranger staring back makes you gasp. "Who are you?" you whisper to the mirror. Dinzaburo finds you in the garden, watching sparrows bathe in a stone basin. "Did you sleep?" "No," you admit, plucking a fallen maple leaf. "But it was my choice not to. That's the difference." He places a lacquered box between you. Inside, 2 documents. Your manumission papers stamped with the magistrate's seal, and a deed. Your fingers tremble. "To a house in Fukagawa, small but sturdy," he says, avoiding your eyes. "Near the river. Your neighbors would be craftsmen, fish sellers." "Why?" The question bursts out raw. He studies the distant rooftops. At first it was desire, then affection. Now, a shrug, maybe atonement. "My silk funded half the kimonos in Yoshiwara." You clutch the deed like a lifeline. "I don't know how to thank." "Don't." He stands abruptly. "It's just wood and paper." As days pass, you discover unexpected challenges in freedom. Choosing your own meals. Do people really eat this much tofu? Navigating streets without attendants. You get lost twice. The terrifying moment when a shopkeeper asks, "What name shall I put on the account?" Ryoko. You blurt, choosing characters meaning Jasmine Child. Close enough to your real name to feel true. Far enough from Tatsuno to mark a new beginning. Dinzaburo's business proposal comes on a rain-slicked afternoon. "I'm opening a silk shop in Nyanbashi," he says over tea, "catering to wealthy merchants' wives." You nearly choke on your umebashi. "You want me to advise them? Who better understands what women want from silk?" His smile holds no leer. The cut that flatters mature hips, the lining that doesn't chafe in summer. The shop, Ryoko's Fine Silks, opens 3 months later. You train the girls yourself. "Notice how this indigo makes her skin glow." You instruct, draping fabric across a plump matron. Not just matching colors, enhancing. Old skills find new purpose. Reading body language to recommend cuts. Using flattery to ease insecurities. Even your shamisen-trained fingers detecting counterfeit threads by touch alone. One evening, as you tally the day's sales, a familiar voice calls. "Tatsuno-sama?" Or should I say Ryoko-sen now? Yuki stands in the doorway, thinner than you remember, her hands clutching a worn bundle. The house mother made life difficult after you left. You embrace her without thinking. "You'll stay with me." That night in Fukagawa, as you share a humble meal of grilled mackerel, Yuki marvels at your plain yukata. No makeup, no hairpieces. "Turns out I'm allergic to lead white." You joke, showing the rash on your wrists. She hesitates. They talk about you in Yoshiwara. Some girls are questioning their debts now. You freeze mid-bite. "Because of me?" "Because they saw it's possible." The realization sits heavy between you. One woman's escape has cracked the system's facade. When Denzaburo announces his retirement to Lake Biwa 6 months later, you assume the shop will close. Instead, he offers to sell you his share. You've more than earned it, he says, avoiding your eyes. We'll arrange fair terms. Monthly payments, no different than any business deal. And us. The question hangs between you. His laugh is surprisingly gentle. I bought your freedom, Ryoko, not your affection. On the day he leaves, you gift him the ivory Netsuke dragon, the twin to your hidden jade one. For luck, you say, echoing Takaheim's long-ago words. As his palanquin disappears down the road, Mizuki appears unexpectedly at your shop, now the wife of a minor official. Chobi, I finally bought my contract, she announces, stroking a bolt of peony-patterned silk. Second wife, of course. Congratulations, you say sincerely. She studies your face. The house mother still curses your name, you know. You grin. I'll take that as praise. That night in your Fukagawa home, you sit beneath the plum tree you planted, listening to the river's whisper. The jade dragon winks from its shelf inside, no longer hidden, but displayed proudly. From across the water, a faint shamisen melody drifts, some young girl practicing the same songs you once played. The notes weave through the darkness, stitching past to present. You close your eyes, breathing deeply. Not the controlled breaths of an Oiran maintaining composure, but the easy rhythm of a woman at peace. When you dream of Yoshiwara now, it's not with fear or longing, just quiet recognition of the girl you were, the woman you became, and the life you've claimed as your own. 3 years flow like the Sumida River outside your Fukagawa home, sometimes tranquil, sometimes turbulent, but always moving forward. The silk shop thrives under your ownership, its reputation growing beyond Ninebashi. Women whisper about the mysterious proprietress with an uncanny eye for fabric, the way you can drape a kimono to make any figure look elegant. One humid morning, as you inspect a shipment of Kyoto brocade, the shop bell chimes. A woman enters, not the usual merchant's wife, but someone whose bearing screams samurai class despite her plain attire. Are you the one they call the Silk Whisperer? She asks, voice low. You freeze mid-motion. That nickname circulates in certain circles, a playful reference to how you once calmed a hysterical customer by matching her kimono lining to her daughter's eyes. I'm Ryoko, you say carefully. She removes her straw hat, revealing sharp cheekbones and a scar running from temple to jaw. My mistress requires your discretion and your expertise. The palanquin waiting outside has its curtains drawn tight. Inside sits a woman in her 40s, her face obscured by a veil, but her hands, those perfectly manicured, ringless hands, tell their own story. They say you were Oiran, the veiled woman begins. That you know how to make silk conceal as well as reveal. You recognize the cadence of aristocratic speech instantly. A daimyo's wife, then, likely here to hide a pregnancy or lover's marks before some important ceremony. What does my lady wish to conceal? A pause. Then she lifts her veil just enough to show the bruise blooming across her left cheekbone, the distinctive imprint of a signet ring. The scarred maid hisses. The lord returns from Edo Castle tonight. The shogun's banquet is in 3 days. Hena, you interrupt, calling for your assistant. Bring the Kakishibu persimmon dye and the gold leaf powder, and the special lining from the back. For the next 2 hours, you work miracles, blending dyes to match her complexion exactly, teaching the maid to apply gold powder that will catch candlelight just so, sewing a hidden stiffener into the collar to prevent accidental brushing. When finished, the bruise vanishes beneath artful layers, not erased, but transformed into what will appear as shadow play in dim banquet halls. The noblewoman studies herself in your mirror, then does something extraordinary. She presses a jade hairpin into your palm. My mother's, she says simply. Wear it when you need protection. After they leave, Hannah gapes at the pin's quality. That's worth 20 gold ryo at least. You tuck it away thoughtfully. In Yoshiwara, gifts always came with strings. This feels different, a transaction between equals. The seasons turn. Your clientele grows more eclectic. A kabuki actor needing costumes that allow quick changes. A Dutch trader's Japanese mistress desperate for European-style modesty. Even the occasional Yoshiwara girl saving up for her own escape. One rainy afternoon, Uemi, now a celebrated Oiran, visits disguised as a merchant's wife. I heard you help women disappear, she says bluntly, rainwater dripping from her hood. You stiffen. I sell silk. And secrets. She places a familiar-looking ledger on the counter, just like the one you once stole from the house mother. They're auditing debts now, thanks to you. But some houses keep 2 books. That night, you send word to Denzaburo's old magistrate contacts. Within a week, 3 more retired courtesans find work at your shop. The housewarming gift for your expanded premises comes unexpectedly. A lacquered box from Takahan, now living quietly as a tea merchant's wife in Osaka. Inside lies a single hairpin, the golden crane design you'd admired years ago. No note, none needed. As winter frost paints your garden white, a different kind of visitor arrives. A gaunt girl of maybe 14, shivering in threadbare cotton. Yuki-sen said you help girls from that place, she stammers. You recognize the hollow cheeks, the way her eyes dart to exits. A newly sold Kamuro who couldn't endure. Wrapping her in your warmest Haori, you whisper the words no one ever said to you. You're safe now. The years fold upon themselves like fine silk, each layer softer than the last. At 35, you've become a fixture of Fukagawa's merchant class, your shop's reputation now stretching to Osaka and beyond. The neighborhood children call you Obasan Ryoko, Auntie Ryoko, though you still carry yourself with the unmistakable grace of a former Oiran. One spring morning, as you inspect a shipment of rare Tsujigahana tie-dyed silks from Kyoto, the shop bell jingles. A young woman enters, early 20s, dressed in the subdued blues of a samurai wife, but with eyes that hold too much knowing for her age. Are you the one who? She hesitates, glancing at your assistant Hannah. Helps with delicate situations? You recognize the look instantly, the same furtive desperation you and me once wore. Setting down the fabric, you motion her toward the back room, where bolts of cloth muffle sound. Who sent you? My name is Natsuko, she whispers, fingers worrying the edge of her sleeve. I served at Matsuyamiya until last month. The name clicks, a mid-tier house near Yoshiwara's west gate. You escaped. She nods, revealing wrists still bandaged from what were clearly rope burns. The magistrate approved my debt appeal, but the house mother hired Sashi to track me down. I heard you. Hannah, you interrupt. Fetch the indigo linens from the cellar. And check the alley. Once alone, you press a purse of silver into Natsuko's hands. There's a boat leaving for Nagasaki at dusk. The captain owes me a favor. Why help me? Her voice cracks. You don't even know my crimes. You unwrap her bandages gently, revealing the familiar lattice of scars, some fresh, some years old. The only crime here is theirs. That night, as you record the lost indigo shipment in your ledger, Hannah hesitates by the door. Obasan, we can't save them all. The unspoken truth hangs between you. Your network of safe houses, bribed officials, and sympathetic boat captains is stretching thin. We save who we can. You say firmly, rubbing your aching wrists. The lead poisoning from your Yoshiwara days now a constant throb. Summer brings an unexpected visitor. Denzaburo, older and frilier, but with eyes still sharp, leaning heavily on a lacquered cane. Retirement disagrees with me. He grumbles, accepting the tea you pour. Too much quiet. You hide a smile. The shop misses your eye for quality. The shop thrives because I left, he counters. But I didn't come for nostalgia. From his sleeve, he produces a letter stamped with an unfamiliar crest, 3 hollyhock leaves. The Tokugawa magistrate in Nagasaki, he explains. He's heard of your humanitarian work. Your stomach plummets. This could mean patronage or arrest. They're tightening restrictions on pleasure districts nationwide. Denzaburo continues. The magistrate wants advisors who understand the inside workings. Me? Help dismantle Yoshiwara. The irony isn't lost on you. Not dismantle. Reform. He taps the letter. They're offering stipends for former Oiran to testify about debt practices. The proposal lingers like incense smoke between you. To walk back into that world voluntarily, even as a free woman. Think on it, he says, rising with a wince. The first meeting isn't until. I'll do it. The words surprise even you. But on one condition. Any girl who wants out gets safe passage. No exceptions. Dinzaburo's smile holds generations of cunning. I'll make sure that's written in ink. Autumn finds you in strange new roles. Sitting stiffly in magistrates' offices, explaining how house mothers inflate debts. Teaching officials to spot the dual ledger system you once exposed. Even discreetly funneling information to you and me. Now a powerful Oiran who's quietly steering girls toward legal appeals. One October dawn, as you prepare to testify in Edo Castle itself, a familiar scent stops you, the briny tang of mackerel from a passing fish cart. Suddenly you're 8 years old again, barefoot behind your father's stall, ignorant of the gilded cage awaiting you. The memory fuels your testimony that day, when the chief magistrate scoffs. Surely some girls choose this life? You roll up your sleeves, revealing the lattice of scars. Would you choose these? The room falls silent. By winter's first snow, 17 pleasure houses face audits. 16 girls escape to new lives. 2 come to work in your shop, their hands still trembling as they learn to measure silk instead of pour sake. On New Year's Eve, as you light incense before your jade dragon, now enshrined beside Takaheim's hairpin and the noblewoman's gift, Hannah bursts in with news. They've arrested the Yuria house mother for falsifying ledgers. You expect triumph. Instead, an unexpected pity wells up. That bitter old woman, like you, was once some father's desperate sale. Pour some sake, you tell Hannah. We'll drink to justice and to mercy. The cup warms your palms as fireworks bloom over the Sumida River, gold and crimson against the winter sky, beautiful and fleeting as the floating world itself. The years turn like the pages of an account book, some entries written in triumph, others in quiet sacrifice. At 40, your hands bear the telltale tremors of lead poisoning, but they still move with precision when measuring silk for a bride's trousseau or stitching hidden compartments into traveling cloaks for fleeing women. One frost-laced morning, as you teach young now how to blend pigments to conceal bruises, the shop bell rings with unusual urgency. A girl no older than 12 stumbles in, her cheap cotton kimono soaked through with February sleet. Please, she gasps in a Kansai accent. The old man at the dock said you. Her knees buckle. You catch her just as the door bursts open again. 2 rough-looking Sashi enforcers scanning your shop with predatory eyes. Lost something? You ask sweetly, positioning yourself between them and the shaking girl. The taller thug flashes gold-capped teeth. Our master's property wandered off. Thought she might have come here, or in turn merchant. The slur hangs in the air like the stench of rotten fish. Behind you, now subtly slides a pair of fabric shears into her sleeve. This is Ryoko's fine silks, you say, voice dripping with false cheer. We sell fabric, not information. Though, you gesture to their stained jackets. You gentlemen clearly need new attire. Their leader snarls, but hesitates. Your reputation as a magistrate's consultant carries weight. Check the back, he orders his companion. As the brute shoves past bolts of cloth, your fingers find the emergency bell cord beneath the counter. Within moments, 3 neighboring merchants appear. The bookseller, the tea vendor, and old man Sato from the rice shop, his cleaver conspicuously visible. Trouble, Ryoko-san? Sato asks mildly. The Sashi weigh their options. With a final glare, they retreat, but not before the leader hisses. This isn't over. When the door closes, the Kansai girl vomits into your best brass spittoon. They bought me from my uncle in Osaka, she whimpers after calming. Said I'd work in a noble's kitchen. Then they took us to some island full of cages. Your blood turns to ice. Inashima. She nods, bewildered. How did you? You don't explain how you know about that particular hell, the offshore brothel where defective girls are discarded. Instead, you wrap her in the warmest haori and whisper the same words spoken to you decades ago. You're safe now. That night, as you review accounts by lamplight, Hannah hesitantly places a cup of medicinal tea at your elbow. Obeisant, we can't keep doing this. She gestures to the account books. Last month alone, we lost enough silk to bankrupt a lesser shop. You sip the bitter tea, feeling its warmth battle the constant ache in your joints. What's your suggestion? The magistrate's new edict lets former Yujo apply for trade licenses. Her eyes gleam. What if we hired the girls we rescue? Teach them sewing, dyeing. Make the shelter self-funding. You finish, impressed. You've been thinking. Hannah flushes. Someone has to, when you're busy playing the reckless savior. Spring arrives with a flurry of activity. Your back room transforms into a proper workshop, complete with for looms purchased at discount from Denzaburo's old contacts. A dive-at man by former Oiran Kiku, whose lead ruin hands still no color like no other. Even little now, the Kansai escapee, proving surprisingly adept at embroidery. The arrangement works beautifully, until the morning a samurai's wife recognizes her new maid as a runaway from Yoshiwara's most exclusive house. You. The woman recoils as if struck. I saw you at Wakamatsuya last winter. Your stomach plummets. This could ruin everything. But before you can intervene, Kiku steps forward with perfect Oiran grace. My lady must be mistaken. My sister here was raised in a Kyoto nunnery. She produces exquisite embroidery. See how her stitches mimic temple mandalas? The lie holds, barely. That night, you call a meeting in the garden shed. We need better stories, you announce to the assembled women. Plausible pasts that won't raise eyebrows. Thus begins what now dubs the Silk Conspiracy. Each rescued girl receives a new name with matching family registry papers, a skill set, weaving, bookkeeping, even midwifery, a backstory, orphaned by famine, widowed young, etc. The system works so well that by midsummer, 3 of your girls secure positions in samurai households, their ears perfectly positioned to overhear useful gossip. One stifling August night, as you fan yourself on the engawa, a familiar silhouette appears at the gate. Umi, now matronly at 35, her once famous features obscured by a traveler's hood. Heard you've been busy, she says, accepting the tea you pour. You exchange news in the oblique way of women who've survived dangerous worlds. The persimmon-dyed silk sold well this season. You remark, code for the Inashima rescues. Our mutual friend sends regards. You and me counters, meaning she's still in contact with Denzaburo. When the pleasantries exhaust themselves, she slides a folded paper across the table, a list of names and dates. Next month's shipments, she says softly. Boats leaving Osaka with specialty cargo. Your pulse quickens. This isn't just about a few girls anymore. It's about the trafficking routes themselves. Why risk this, you ask? UME's smile holds decades of sorrow. Someone once told me, we take care of our own. As she departs into the warm night, you clutch the list like both weapon and burden. The jade dragon on your shelf seems to wink in the lamplight, as if to say, the game has changed. The first autumn leaf spirals onto your engawa the morning the magistrate's summons arrives. The paper crackles with authority as you break the seal. In order to appear before the Shogun's Finance Council regarding irregularities in Pleasure District taxation. Your hands barely tremble anymore, the lead tremor replaced by a different kind of shaking. Denzaburo's old contacts had warned you this day might come. They're not auditing brothels anymore. The messenger adds sotto voce. They're auditing the auditors. You dress carefully for court, not in the merchant's drab grays you've worn for years, but in a subdued indigo kimono lined with hidden silver threads. A message to those who know how to look. I remember where I came from. Edo Castle's corridors swallow sound like Yoshiwara swallowed girls. The council chamber smells of ink and male sweat. The shogunate officials arranged in strict hierarchy around a central brazier. You count 7 men before noticing the 8th figure, a woman in her 50s kneeling discreetly near the screens. Her tomzoed kimono marks her as married nobility, but the way her fingers tap shamisen rhythms against her thigh tells a different story. Ryoko of Fukagawa, the senior counselor, intones. You are called as witness regarding. He consults a scroll. Alleged financial malfeasance spanning 3 prefectures. You kneel properly, back straight, as when you'd serve tea to daimyo. This humble merchant is at the council's disposal. The interrogation begins gently. Questions about your shop's accounting methods, your work with the magistrate's office. Then, is it true you've employed over 30 former Yujo in 5 years? A trap. Answer yes, and you admit to harboring runaways. Say no, and they'll produce records. My ledgers show 27 female employees, you say smoothly. All properly registered with the neighborhood association. The counselor's lips thin. And their previous occupations? The noblewoman by the screens coughs delicately. When the men turn, you catch her hand flashing Yoshiwara finger code. Danger lies east. Many were orphaned in the Tenmei famine. You improvise. Some worked in textile mills, others as seamstresses. You meet the counselor's gaze squarely. Does the council question a merchant's right to hire skilled laborers? A younger official slams his fist. Enough wordplay. We know you're helping girls escape contracts. Silence pools like spilled ink. Then, contracts. The noblewoman speaks for the first time, voice dripping with aristocratic disdain. Surely the honorable counselor isn't referring to those illegal debt indentures the shogun banned last year. The shift is instantaneous. The officials suddenly preoccupied with their papers. The woman's eyes flick to you. Keep going. If I may, you say, producing a wrapped parcel. I've prepared a report on modern silk dyeing techniques that might interest the council. Beneath the top sheet, innocuous diagrams, lies your real work. Names of girls disappeared from Inoshima. Shipping manifests matching Osaka traffickers to Edo officials. Even a coded list of which brothels still operate dual ledgers. The counselor unwraps it slowly. When his eyes snap up, you're ready. Page 12 details how certain pigments fade when exposed to accounting scrutiny. You say pointedly. The noblewoman rises abruptly. This audience tires me. Ryoko-san, attend me outside. In the corridor's relative privacy, she grips your wrist. They'll raid your shop within the week. Up close, you recognize the laugh lines around her eyes. Yumi, though age and elegance have transformed her utterly. You? Married Matsudaira no Tatamori last winter, she murmurs. The same fool who bought your Mizuage decades ago. Her smile is all teeth. Turns out widowers appreciate experienced wives. The pieces click. Her presence here, the coded warnings, even Matsudaira's sudden interest in moral reform. Yumi has been playing the long game from inside the castle itself. Take your girls to the abandoned Terra in Asakusa, she whispers. The one with the broken Kamenu statue. Wait for my signal. You're halfway home when the first raindrops fall, hard and cold as the truth settling in your bones. This isn't just about saving girls anymore. It's about bringing down an empire built on their backs. That night, as your workers pack precious silks into humble rice sacks, Little now tugs your sleeve. Obesan, will they burn our shop? You stroke her hair, still uneven from where some brothel mistress hacked it off as punishment. Buildings can be rebuilt. Lives can't. Hannah presses a ledger into your hands. The real one. The other's already at the magistrate's. Courtesy of Yumi's husband, I presume. You flip through pages of coded entries. Each silk shipment, actually a girl smuggled to safety. Each dye purchase, a bribe paid to officials. 15 years of secrets that could hang you all. Leave it, you say suddenly. Hannah pales. But, exactly as it is. You place the book prominently on your desk. Let them find what we want them to find. The raid comes at dawn. 6 shogunate officers tear through your shop while a 7th, the young hothead from the council, watches smugly. Where are your workers? He demands as they overturn dye vats. You gesture to the empty workroom. Market day in Nyanbashi. They'll return by noon. His smirk falters when they uncover the ledger. As he reads, his face cycles through shock, confusion, then dawning horror. This is evidence, you agree calmly, of payments to your uncle's shipping company for special cargo. The ledger's genius lies in what it implies, not your crimes, but theirs. Every bribe you ever paid is recorded alongside the official who accepted it, every smuggled girl connected to someone powerful. The officer's hand shakes as he slams the book shut. You'll come with us. They march you through streets, just waking up. Past the fishmonger who winces in sympathy. Past the bookseller who deliberately knocks over a crate to cause distraction. At the bridge checkpoint, an elderly samurai examines the arrest order. Ryoko of Fukagawa? He peers at you. The silk dyer? The same. To everyone's shock, he returns the document to the officer. This is outdated. The new edict places textile workers under guild jurisdiction, not shogunate. As the officers splutter, you recognize the old man, Sato's brother-in-law, retired from the magistrate's office. The pieces click. UME's warning, the staged raid, even this conveniently timed legal loophole, all orchestrated to force their hand. The hot-headed officer glares. This isn't over. No. You agree, smiling for the first time. It's only beginning. Winter grips Edo with teeth sharper than any Sashi's blade. The shop stands empty now, its shelves bare, its dye vats overturned like beached whales. You watch from the safe house attic as officials nail a confiscation notice to your door, the paper fluttering in the icy wind like a trapped moth. They took everything? Now whispers, her breath fogging the cracked window. You adjust the stolen magistrate's uniform you now wear, an absurd disguise of baggy trousers and padded jacket, your hair stuffed under a low-crowned hat. Not everything. The real treasure lies buried beneath the broken Kamenu statue in Asakusa. Coded ledgers, Dinzaburo's old contacts, even Takaheim's final letter before she passed last spring. But most precious of all, the jade dragon now rests against your chest, its cool weight a silent promise. Time to go, Hannah murmurs, handing you a merchant's account book. The perfect prop. Who would suspect magistrates carrying business records? The streets teem with New Year's Eve revelers, their drunken laughter masking your group's movement. 23 women disguised as laborers, their faces smudged with charcoal, their postures deliberately slumped to hide the grace-beaten, or trained, into them. At the rendezvous point, a familiar silhouette leans against a sake stall. You and me, wrapped in commoner's rags, but with eyes still sharp as ever. The boat leaves at midnight, she says without preamble, pressing a purse into your hand. Enough for passage to Nagasaki and beyond. You count the coins silently. This is too much. Call it back wages. Her smile is bitter. Matsudaira paid triple that for my mizuage. A commotion erupts near the docks. Shouts, then the unmistakable clang of swords being drawn. Yuami tenses. Go. Now. But as you shepherd the girls toward the waiting junk, a figure blocks the gangplank. The hot-headed council officer, his blade gleaming in the torchlight. I knew you'd. Officer. A new voice rings out. The elderly samurai from the bridge strides forward, flanked by 6 men in magistrate's livery. By order of the Shogun's council, you're relieved of duty. On what charges? The young man splutters. The old samurai produces a scroll. Bribery, extortion, and most ironically, human trafficking. As they drag him away screaming protests, you lock eyes with the old samurai. He gives the slightest nod. The game is won. The junk's hold stinks of fish and tar, but no one complains. Now clutches your sleeve as the sails unfurl. Where will we go? You watch Edo's lanterns shrink into fireflies on the dark water. Somewhere we can breathe. The voyage south takes 7 days. 7 days of retching into buckets, of huddling together for warmth, of starting at every shout from the deck. But also 7 days of laughter as the girls invent new lives for themselves. I'll be a team mistress in Kyoto, declares one. I'll marry a fisherman and eat crab every day, giggles another. On the 7th morning, Nagasaki's foreign ships appear like strange dreams. Dutch vessels with their square rigging, Chinese junks with eyes painted on their prows. The captain smuggles you ashore at twilight, through alleys stinking of foreign spices and salt. The safe house is smaller than you hoped, just 4 rooms above a Portuguese trader's shop. But its windows face the sea, and its locks are sturdy. Rest tonight, the captain says, pressing a scrap of paper into your hand. Tomorrow, ask for Father Luis at our church. He helps women like you. You sleep like the dead, the jade dragon clutched in your palm. Dawn brings an unexpected sight. Foreigners in Nagasaki's streets. Men with hair like frayed rope and noses like axe blades. Women in absurdly wide skirts that would tangle in Kamagata sandals. The girls gawk openly until Hannah hisses at them to act natural. Our church is stranger still, a wooden structure with a symbol like a sword crossed with a ship's mast. Inside, a thin man in black robes examines you with unsettling blue eyes. "You are Ryoko," he says in accented Japanese. "The silk merchant." Not a question. You tense. How does he know? Your friend Yuami sent word. He gestures to a back room. "Come, we have much work." The work turns out to be teaching. Portuguese merchants' wives beg to learn proper tea ceremony. Half-caste children need someone who can navigate both worlds. Even the local brothel madam, a former karaoke from your own past, seeks advice on making her house more refined. By summer, your odd little household thrives. The girls master new trades, now proves shockingly adept at tailoring Western clothes, while Hannah discovers a talent for translating foreign medical texts. One September evening, as you sort through a shipment of French velvets, a commotion erupts downstairs. A familiar voice shouts, "Where is she?" The stubborn old woman who. You drop the fabric. "Denzaburo?" He bursts in, older and frilier, but with the same determined glint in his eye. Alive after all. Do you have any idea what you've caused? Probably. You pour tea with hands that don't shake. How did you find us? The churchman wrote when Yuami's letters stopped arriving. He gulps the tea like sake. Edo's in an uproar. The scandal toppled 3 council members. You listen as he recounts the aftermath. The shogunate's crackdown on trafficking, the new protections for indentured workers, even whispers about abolishing debt bondage entirely. And Yuami? Safe. Playing the dutiful widow after Matsudaira's convenient heart attack. His grin is positively wicked. She sends this. The parcel contains 2 items. A deed to a small property in Nagasaki's foreign quarter. A single golden kanzashi, Takaheim's final gift, delivered years late. She said you'd understand, Denzaburo adds. You do. The kanzashi isn't just hair ornamentation. It's a weapon. It's needle-sharp and capable of piercing an artery. A reminder that elegance and danger often share the same form. That night, as you stand on your new balcony watching Dutch sailors carouse below, now joins you. Obesan, is this freedom? You consider the question carefully. Freedom isn't a place. Not Edo, not Nagasaki, not even the farthest port. It's the space between what was done to you and what you choose to do next. This. You gesture to the raucous foreign quarter. This is just the beginning. The jade dragon winks in the lamplight as fireworks blossom over the harbor. Not the delicate chrysanthemum shapes of Edo, but bold foreign starbursts that paint the night in colors you've never seen before. 5 years in Nagasaki weave their own rhythm, slower than Edo's frenetic pace, richer in unexpected harmonies. Your days now begin with the cry of gulls instead of shop bells, with Portuguese sailors singing fado songs under your windows instead of Yoshiwara's eternal shamisen. The old Portuguese trader, the one who rented you the attic, passed last winter, leaving his shop to a half-Japanese nephew who cares more about books than profit. Under your guidance, the space transforms into something unprecedented. The front sells Nagasaki Sarasa printed cloth to foreigners. The back room teaches rescued women Dutch and Portuguese. The upstairs attic hides girls fresh off smuggler ships until their papers arrive. One April morning, as you sort through a shipment of Indian cotton, now 20 and fluent in 3 languages, bursts in waving a letter. From Malacca, the Dutch East India Company wants 10 interpreters. You examine the ornate seal, and they're offering passage. Her eyes shine with possibilities no Yoshiwara girl could have dreamed. Java, Siam, even rumors of a place called Batavia where women inherit property. That night, over a dinner of tempura fried in foreign olive oil, your odd little family debates futures. I'll go to Manila, declares former Oiran Kiku, tapping her lead-stiffened fingers. They say Spanish convents take in skilled embroiderers. What about you, Obasan? Now asks around a mouthful of shrimp. You smile at the pet name that stuck. These old bones belong to Japan. Summer brings shocking news up from Dejima. The shogun has issued new edicts, partially reopening foreign trade, relaxing travel restrictions for certain merchants. The streets buzz with rumors of Dutch physicians establishing a medical school. We could use a proper doctor, Hannah muses, rubbing her ever-aching wrists. The opportunity arrives on the autumn equinox, in the form of a lanky Dutch surgeon named Dr. van den Berg. He speaks stilted but serviceable Japanese, learned from a Rangaku scholar in Edo. You are the textile merchant who also teaches languages? He asks, mopping his perpetually sweaty brow. I am. Good. The hospital needs interpreters. He hesitates. Female ones. For women's ailments. Thus begins your most audacious venture yet, training former Pleasure District women as medical interpreters. They learn anatomical terms alongside tea ceremony manners, how to translate childbirth complications as easily as silk patterns. The Dutch doctors, initially skeptical, soon rely on your girls. Their ability to navigate both the precise world of Western medicine and the nuanced realm of Japanese propriety. Remarkable, Dr. van den Berg admits after a difficult birth. Your mist now calmed the patient when all my Latin failed. You don't mention that now recognize the laboring mother as a former Yoshiwara girl, one who'd apparently married a samurai desperate for heirs. Some silences protect more than words ever could. Winter arrives with an unexpected visitor, Dinzaburo, looking frielier, but with eyes still bright. He brings gifts. A bolt of French velvet for the shop. A lacquered box of Edo sweets for nostalgia. News that Uemi has adopted an orphan niece. Wink. The niece looks remarkably like that Kansai girl you rescued. He adds innocently. Overwarmed sake, he updates you on Edo's transformations. The Pleasure District shrinking, more girls attending temple schools, even whispers of women inheriting small businesses. And Yoroya? You can't help asking. Gone. The house mother died in prison. He swirls his cup. The building burned mysteriously last year. Some say a disgruntled client. Others claim they saw an old woman in a lead-stained kimono lighting the match. You say nothing. Some justice needs no witness. On New Year's Eve, as fireworks bloom over Nagasaki Harbor, you stand on your balcony watching the Dutch ship's lanterns sway. Inside, your makeshift family celebrates, now demonstrating a Portuguese dance, Hannah arguing medical terms with Dr. van den Berg, even Kiko laughing as she tries foreign wine. The jade dragon rests against your collarbone, warm from your skin. Across the water, the Aura church bell tolls midnight, its foreign melody blending strangely with the Japanese drums from town. You close your eyes, breathing in salt air and sake, and the faintest hint of cherry blossoms carried on the winter wind. Somewhere out there, other girls are waking to new lives because of the path you carved. Not freedom given, but freedom taken, one stitch, one word, one rescued girl at a time.